How many of you have had something bad happen to you? Raise your hand. That's what I figured. Okay. So the question is a pretty typical one. One I think we all have. Even I asked this question. Why does God let bad things happen to good people? Well, here's the deal. I wish I could tell you. I wish I could tell you why God decides to jump in certain places and not in others. I wish I could tell you why God does what God does, but I can't. I have no idea. What I can tell you, though, is that God is involved and around in everything. I believe that God is not letting bad things happen. Rather, people are causing bad things to happen to other people. It's our nature. It's the nature of sin. And the things that happen on this earth are not things that God is causing. God is inherently good. God is so good that God gave up Jesus on the cross to die for us. So, if God doesn't let bad things happen, why do bad things happen? Well, we as people are inherently focused inward. We are sinful people. That is just our nature. It started in the garden with Adam and Eve. We didn't want what God had to offer us. We wanted what we thought was best for us, not what God said was best for us. And from there, sin took over. And so we are constantly looking inward at ourselves and focused on what we want and need rather than what God wants for us. God wants for us to be for other people and for God. God wants us to be all about God and for the people around us. But we choose otherwise. And God gives us that freedom to do that. That's part of the gifts of God. But that means that bad things happen. But I believe God is involved and there through those times. So when you're going through a tough time, no matter what it is, if it's the death of a family member, if it's a struggle in school, a struggle in a relationship, struggle with family, who knows what it is. But God is there. God shows up. It's always amazing to hear the stories of God showing up in the toughest, darkest places, because God even showed up on the cross as Jesus was dying. God was there. And if God can show up there, God can show up anywhere. So does God let bad things happen? No. But does God show up in those bad things? I believe God does. I believe God is showing up in all of those things. And I believe that God is connecting all of those things that happened poorly for us, and God is trying to work good through them. See, we can grow in those bad things. We can let those experiences either consume us and take us down, or we can grow through those experiences. And we can help, we can look to see where God is in those experiences. When disaster strikes, what's it look like if instead of blaming people, we start looking for where God is in action? Where is God at work in those experiences, in those disasters? And when we can start pinpointing that, what kind of spin does that put on that circumstance? That God is still in action even in horrible times. So why does God let bad things happen? Well, God doesn't. So the real question is, how can we find God in the bad things that happen in our lives?